I spent most of my 20s searching for purpose and direction in my life, and never really seemed to be able to find it. I looked in a lot of different places, chased a lot of different things, but nothing ever really stuck. Nothing felt like it was the thing for me. You know, I never had that real realization that this is what I was called to. This was my purpose, and I think it led to me spending a lot of time through my 20s wasted. You know, I'd be looking in all of the wrong places for answers, for the truth, and yeah, I struggled with purpose a lot. It came in different ways. You know, there was periods where I felt very, very lazy and unmotivated to do anything. There were other points where I really would throw myself into something, but because it didn't really feel 100% aligned with my values, it quickly fell away, and I was then kind of stuck back in that loop of looking for purpose again. And I think it's something that a lot of people, a lot of us struggle with, finding that thing that makes you tick, that makes you get out of bed in the mornings and just gives you that passion for life again, you know. It's something that I've spent a lot of time recently thinking about, because I've actually come to a point where I do feel very purposeful and driven and directional in my life. And I was kind of looking back on it and thinking that, you know, there was a lot of my 20s where I didn't have this. So what's changed? Why have I been able to find this purpose? How has it changed me? And by looking at that, I thought I may be able to pull out a full, sort of, I guess, a bit of a guide on finding your purpose from that may help you if you're in a position where you're struggling for purpose at the moment. So I suppose what it really comes down to for me was getting serious. You know, I think I spent so much time looking and searching for purpose that I kind of didn't really go in on anything. I didn't get serious. I didn't align myself with where I wanted to go. You know, I thought for a long while that I wanted to make a YouTube channel, and that was kind of what I wanted to do. But I would start a YouTube channel, maybe post 5 or 10 videos on it, and then give up and leave it a year, start another YouTube channel on something different. And it took me probably 3 or 4 rounds of that to get to a point where I was like, no, actually, this is silly. I'm not really getting anywhere, and I'm not feeling very motivated to do this. So I needed to step back and look at myself and at kind of the direction I was going in, and realised that I was just spinning my wheels. I wasn't getting anywhere. And when I actually started to focus in on kind of personal development and making sure that my health was in as good a shape as possible, that I was following some creative pursuits, just getting my life back in balance, rather than constantly striving for this sense of direction. The direction actually found me, and I came to a point where I realised, well, actually, this kind of holistic journey that I've been on with my health, with kind of learning how to adult, I suppose, growing as a person, that there was a lot of lessons in that and a lot of value that I thought I could give, and I hope that you watching this video will get some value out of my experience that you may be able to apply to your life. And that kind of is where this YouTube channel was birthed from, was the realization that my purpose I hadn't been out searching for my purpose. My purpose had found me when I focused on improving myself and focused on just getting a good balance in my life. It kind of emerged, and I think it's quite counter to the way the world often says or often tells you that you've got to go and find your purpose in life. And actually, I think often our purposes actually find us when we're in a position in life where we're aligned with what God wants for us. He kind of shows us that way, and we don't really have to go looking for it. So that would be my first, I suppose, lesson, is to just get serious about developing yourself and doing things that you enjoy as well. And I think that through that you will be able to, or your purpose will be revealed to you. And then another thing that I've spent quite a lot of time around this purpose kind of subject looking at is values. And each of us have different things that we value in life, and it can actually be a really valuable exercise just to go on a website. You just type it into Google, like what are my values, or something like that, into the search bar. You find a website that will list loads of different things, and just go through and pick around sort of 5 to 10 things that are really important to you in life. So for me, some of those look like peace, wisdom, financial stability, family, creativity and passion, and enjoying the work that I do. And all of those kind of set a bit of a framework, I suppose, for your life. And I know it seems very simple, but when you actually then start to look at your values and what you're doing in your life, you can quickly identify areas that aren't really working for you, aren't really aligned with who you are as a person or who you want to be as a person. And I think that's then where we can start to say, right, I want to develop these areas, these things that I value, I need to start working towards. So perhaps that's you value health, but actually you're a bit out of shape and your diet isn't great. So you value health, but you're over here at the moment, and you need to develop yourself and take yourself on that journey to get back into better health. And I think those kind of discrepancies between our values and where we are in life at the moment is quite a important thing to look at when we focus in on our purpose. Because if we're not in that alignment, we're not in that balance, we're not in a place to go forward and be purposeful in something. And often you may actually find that, say, let's take that health example again. We're unaligned with our value here, and we need to move from this point over to our value. That may actually be your current purpose. You may realise that through doing that, you may have to get your health back in check. That's your purpose for the time being. And yeah, I suppose that's just kind of an interesting way of approaching it for me, is to see what you're actually aligned with, where you are at the moment, and then work out how you get from point A, where you are now, to point B, which is being in a position where that purpose finds you. And then finally, I think it's very important to set some goals as well, to actually give yourself some direction. And again, that even if they don't feel like 100% this is what I'm supposed to be doing, oftentimes they can kind of lead you in a similar direction. So for me, I had a goal for a long while of making a YouTube channel. And I dillied and dallied and did little bits here and there, and made little goals for those, and did some of them I didn't. But I learned from that process. I learned how to generally upload a YouTube video, record, talk on camera, all of those kind of things. And from that, it then has led me to the point I'm at now, where I feel very purposeful and driven about making these videos and trying to provide some value and some help to you. So yeah, I think having some goals, even if they're not, perhaps you don't feel like they're exactly, the direction you want to go in, but that's kind of where you are at in life now. Working towards something, I think, is really valuable, because again, through that process, your purpose often finds you rather than you finding your purpose. You have to go out there and do something. You have to take action and move forward, and then God will bring that purpose towards you. You kind of have to start out on the journey before you necessarily know where you're going a lot of the time. And that can be scary, and it can be quite difficult, because it forces you to step outside your comfort zone into a place where it's uncertain. And for a lot of us, for myself included, that can bring up a lot of anxiety. And I really struggled with anxiety, especially through my late teens and my early 20s as I was going through this. And again, I think some of my journey was learning to deal with that anxiety and to overcome it before I necessarily got to a point where I could find that purpose. I wouldn't be making these YouTube videos if I hadn't gone through that journey of understanding my emotions, my mental health, and kind of how to deal with that and how to get a balance there. And that experience and that, I guess, just the life lessons that I got from that have got me to where I am today. Now, I wouldn't say that my purpose at any point was to overcome my anxiety, but I kind of had to go through certain phases with it, certain goals of I dropped out of uni for a while because my mental health was so bad, and I set goals to get back to uni to finish. And by doing that and achieving those goals, it set me on the path to kind of feeling purposeful again. And at the time, that then became my purpose, to get myself healthy enough to get back to uni. As I said, it kind of setting those goals and starting to work towards them then brought that purpose towards me rather than me going after it, if that makes sense. So I hope that's been probably as clear as mud, but I hope that's provided some help to you and a bit of encouragement, if nothing else, that purpose isn't everything. And I think often in the modern world we can get it mixed up a bit, that you have to be aligned and in a direction going for something, when actually sometimes what you need to do is step back from that and just find a level of balance again in your life, reassess what's working for you, what isn't working for you, and go forward from that. If you need some help with that realigning and getting balanced again, then there's a short ebook linked in the description, which will walk you through the exact system that I used to bring about a change in myself and to find this purpose and direction again, but from a place of holistic health and well-being, that I started to really take into account and take into consideration my physical, my mental, my emotional, my spiritual health, and also looked at kind of my diet, my creativity, and some of the other things that I was doing in my life, and how just through this guide or this blueprint, you can kind of almost cookie cutter it for your life, plug in the things that work for you, and I think it will really help you to just get to that point of balance, from which you can then start to find your way a little more. And oftentimes it's through that process of being aligned with your values, being in balance, being where you should be, that your purpose will then find you. So I hope that's helped, and until next time, God bless. Take care.